Hey all, I wanted to make a video about how I use Anki so that hopefully it can serve as some inspiration for you. So first things, here's our little agenda. So first I'll talk about how I organize my decks. You can see that over here I have a bunch of different decks here, but what I want to focus on is the ones that say Review, Current Didactics, and Anatomy. You can see that I've prefaced all of these with a 0, and that was something a classmate of mine told me, which moves all of these to the top regardless of what letter they start with. So they're not affected by the alphabetical order there. So that's handy to keep these at the top. And here what I do is I have current didactics, which has whatever courses I'm taking at the moment. I usually put anatomy in its own deck over here, but current didactics would be, say, genetics or immunology, whatever I'm taking. And you can see in here that I have AnKing dermatology, and I have a few subdecks within that. And I also have a deck for ICM over here. So these are organized into the subdecks where I have, just for convenience, not all of my AnKing cards, which there are a few hundred of them, all in just one big deck, but I have them sort of stratified by their topic. Okay, so next I want to discuss in-house versus third-party Anki cards. Excuse me. So in-house cards are very nice if your focus is doing well on the in-house exam, because our classmates work very hard to put these together based on our lecture material. I personally have a preference a bit more towards the AnKing deck, which is really focused on step 1 preparation and is tagged or sort of organized by third-party resources. The reason that I prefer to use AnKing many times is that they can be quite sort of full cards with a lot of detail and work done to them that is much harder to do if you're a student just kind of make it on the fly. So my classmates are brilliant and work very hard, but let me just show you what one of these AnKing cards might look like. So here in AnKing dermatology, I'll study now with the S key over there. And here we can see classic triad, IgA vasculitis, Oh man, I don't remember this. Okay. Okay, that's a bit of a tough image. Let's go to something else. Oh, I know. I can go to review and go to summer sketchy. Okay. So two most common causes of bacterial conjunctivitis. I think that should be strep, pneumo, and H flu, I think. Okay, great. But here we can see, and I'll just pause my little timer here that helps keep me on time. We have this nice closed deletion card over here. Bacterial conjunctivitis is spelled nicely, so I can open up that kind of gross image using the Amboss add-on that I have, and we can see that it's active over here. So this allows me to hover over correctly spelled text that's an abbreviation of some medical term. And under here, not only does it have the card itself, but it also has some information. This CMOPS mnemonic, adenovirus, although we're talking about bacterial conjunctivitis here, adenovirus is the most common cause of viral conjunctivitis. And this is talking about in children, so just another tidbit of information. In adults, it's different. First aid isn't quite working, but we go to here, and then, okay, great, that went well. And what I'm really looking for is, yes, over here. So roseola caused by DNA virus, we have this extra information. And then under here, for those who use Sketchy like myself, we're able to click this and see the picture of the Sketchy video associated with roseola. There's more information here, so this seems to be talking about the different childhood exanthems and other information if you, oops, I forgot to pause that time, and other information related to the card. So I really enjoy how AnKing has all of that, and the cards are they've been looked at many times and edited many times until they're quite nice. So that's one way that you can do it, and if you want to use in-house, that's totally great, and then that'll be totally focused towards the in-house exams. I think the AnKing cards have about maybe a 70% overlap. So if you do all of the AnKing cards per topic, you'll learn a bit extra that you don't need for the in-house UF exam. And there will also be some things that are missed by AnKing that will appear on your exam. I find it is good enough for me in that I supplement the extra material that I need to learn for the in-house exam just directly from lectures and the lecture PowerPoints. Okay, and if you want to access AnKing, the official way to do it is to go over here. Oops. Preparing for the video. Go over here to Anki Hub, and then Anki Hub is a paid service, which costs a bit of money, that if you subscribe to that, then not only AnKing, but there are many other decks that you can subscribe to. And then many people at once can collaborate on these decks and push changes so that they are always up to date. And you'll live get these updates as well whenever you open up Anki. Anki Hub was made by the AnKing people, so it was made almost entirely for this. You can see there's 74,000 subscribers and very few others relatively on these other decks. Yeah. Okay, so it's in-house versus third party over here. So now let's set up MSK, musculoskeletal. I'm recording this on the first day of my musculoskeletal block, so I need to set up my Anki deck. So here I have dermatology that I set up for last week, and let's go ahead and set up MSK. So the first thing to discuss is using tags instead of subdecks for organization. If you're using in-house decks, or if you're just getting started with Anki, you're probably quite used to subdecks, right? That makes a lot of sense. Let's see if we can open this. So here in Chelsea Anatomy, we have the different subdecks, and this is quite well organized. Okay, we get that. However, what happens if you're looking at a lot of classes together is there might be some cards that are relevant both in dermatology and in kidney or in cardiology. So in those cases, since a card can only be it can't be both in the dermatology deck and the cardiology deck, let's say, then you have a bit of a problem. Where does it go? So this problem is solved by, instead of using subdecks, by using tags. So now I'm going to open up the browse menu using the B hotkey that we can see down there. And now let's go over to, let's turn our attention to the left-hand side over here, so down to tags. And here we have the AnKing Step 1 V12. So I'll just click on that, and you can see that there's 31,000 cards. Oh my. But you can see that for this card that it just randomly popped onto, we have the text, we have the extra, we have some other fields, and over here we have a whole lot of tags. So this card is in the boards and beyonds, like if I move my mouse it goes away, but AnKing Step 1 V12, boards and beyond, 13 infectious, chapter 13 or whatever, infectious disease. So it's in boards and beyond's infectious disease set, and okay, yeah, this is a pretty infectious disease card. But if we go to something else, we might be able to see that this one is in microbiology and also pathology, and this might be in some cardiovascular decks as well, or in some cardiovascular tags as well. So if we open up on the left hand side this tag set, we can see that it was these 31,000 cards at the top here were tagged according to many different sort of schemes. So some people went according to the amboss video. Oh, what is that? That's kind of weird. Oh, okay. I guess I never really embossed the string. All right. So some went according to the Boards and Beyond videos, and we can see that we have the first chapter, I guess, is basic pharmacology, and in that we have general and different types over here. So these 35,000 cards were tagged according to these videos. If we instead go to boot camp and we go to, say, boot camp dermatology, there are 926 cards tagged under boot camp dermatology, and we can go according to these. Now let's go to boot camp, and then some of these, might be overlapping, all that. So now let's go to boot camp musculoskeletal. We can see that I have 1,900 cards to do in the next 3 weeks, so wish me luck. Yeah, but luckily I don't need to just create one deck of 1,900 cards and just sit there for 5 days straight and just grind through these or something like that. What we can do, and what we should do, is we should open this up and look for further kind of breakdowns of these. So in skeletal muscle, you can see there are 89 cards tagged according to this sort of video or chapter or something like that. And now we've gone down to 9 cards. So this is much more manageable. So if we want to watch a bit of content, read a bit of content, and then only do the AnKing cards associated with that, I think that's a great way to go. So what we'll do is, when you get AnKing, it's just in one gigantic deck, but we want to have something a bit more manageable. I'll escape out of the browse menu so we can see kind of what we want to do here. So what I have here with dermatology is I have under current didactics, I have dermatology, and that's where all my dermatology cards go. And then I also kind of made, okay, I'll put the cards about benign skin neoplasms over here, the malignant ones here, and anything about infectious skin disease stuff I'll put over here. So let's go ahead and create a deck to do the same thing for MSK. Okay, so I hit create deck down here, and it prompted, since I kind of had clicked this. Let's go back here and current didactics, AnKing MSK. Okay, and let's create this. And we can see that this has popped up over here, and it doesn't have any cards in it. What I'll do, I'll go ahead and first go to here, to options, and since this deck spawned with the default card set or something like that, and which I have set so that it has 0 new cards a day, so it would not show cards even if I had any. So I'll just go to current didactics, where I made sure that I have kind of like the max number or something for new cards and max reviews and things like that. And really the only settings I really set in here when I create a new, I think you can create a preset. I change the daily limits over here. I don't really mess with those. The display order sometimes I'll set so that new cards showed before reviews, that type of thing. And then all the way at the bottom, there's FSRS, which I'll mention later, but this scheduler helps a lot. Okay. I'll come back to FSRS. Okay, so now I've changed the AnKing MSK to the preset that we want, the current didactics preset, which I had created before, but it still doesn't have any cards. So let's fix that, shall we? So using B, let's go to the browse menu. Go over here on the left side, AnKing step 1, boot camp, musculoskeletal. Let's say I watched the first boot camp video, and I want to put all of skeletal muscle, all of these 89 cards, let's put into one deck. So what I can do here is I'll use Control A to select all of these cards. And my top bar here might look a bit different than yours because I have some add-on that makes it just sort of cleaner. I forget what it is, but I recommend looking at add-ons to just improve your quality of life. So change deck over here. And then let's go up to AnKing MSK. Now, we could go ahead and drop these all into the MSK and then we'll watch the second video, non-rheumatologic disease, whatever, and also drop these in, and we'll just have a giant deck. Or what we can do to be a bit more organized is we can click add over here. And then instead of adding these directly into the AnKing MSK, we can put skeletal muscle over here. Okay. So if we do that, now we're going to get all of these. We can see that the deck is changed to skeletal muscle, AnKing MSK skeletal muscle. Now one more thing. If we pop out of here and we look at what cards we have, it still shows 0. Now, why is that? That's because these cards are still suspended. So if we go back to the browse menu, and here we can go over here in the tags, or since this is its own new deck now, we can go to the top, middle left over here and go to AnKing MSK and then click on skeletal muscle. Same thing, now we're sort of navigating by decks. And here we can see that these are all suspended. So we can hit Control A to choose everything and then Control J to toggle suspend. So now if we exit, we should see that we have okay, so I'm sorry. The current didactics, I'm going to save to all subdecks. Okay. And now we'll see that we have all 89 of these cards that that we just selected. That's great. Okay, so we've done this based on some third-party resource. We've created a deck based off. We've created an AnKing subdeck based off of a third-party resource. But what if we're actually following along lecture? What do we do in that case? Can we still use AnKing? We definitely can. And for that, let's go ahead and create another deck called create another deck called lecture. Okay, lectures. Love more lectures. Okay, and this we wanna I'll go to options and then current didactics and save to all subdecks. I usually just do that. Okay, so now what we can do is we can say oh boy, I think I need to relog it. My apologies. Okay, well I had it pulled up. So here's one of our lectures, and in our lecture we can scroll, and we see, oh, Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I wonder what that is. I'd like to learn more. And we can say that since Duchenne muscular dystrophy appeared in our lecture, we want to learn a bit more about that. So now we can go to AnKing, hit B to go into our browse menu. Let's go to all of the AnKing cards. We can see we have that 31,000, incredible number. And now in the search, we can search up Duchenne. And we get 22 cards, much more manageable. And if we click over here, we can see, this card, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, this seems like a relevant card. This is a nice card. And we can go ahead and change the deck of this into our lectures. Now we do need to make sure we see the parentheses around here, so we also want to unsuspend that with Control J. And while we're at it, we can keep just, kind of cherry picking through here, but we see that, oh, first aid has a tag for Duchenne, as does Pixarize. Oh, okay, so that isn't working. But what we can do is we can then go by, okay, we can't quite select it directly from here, but Duchenne, Becker, muscular dystrophies. So Pixarize, biochemistry, miscellaneous Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Let's see if we can find that. Pixarize, biochemistry, and then miscellaneous Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Okay, So now if we do this, here are all the FSRS cards in this tag group that are all based on Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Okay, Duchenne, loss of dystrophin, which is part of Duchenne, and you can see this one. This is actually quite nice. This doesn't say Duchenne anywhere in here. The text doesn't say Duchenne, the extra doesn't say Duchenne, but it was still included in this. So if all we had done is search up here for Duchenne, we might have missed this card that is quite relevant to us. Duchenne happens because of the loss of dystrophin, this protein, but we're able to find this because we're going by these tag sets. So that can be quite useful even if you're sort of more focused on lectures. Okay, let's go ahead and include this in our lecture deck as well. Oopsie. Lectures. Okay, and now if we exit out with escape and go to here, we can see that we have 2 cards over here. I guess I must have done these cards before. So we can go here, study with S. With the Gower sign, we just saw that, so I can hit space to flip it, and then I'll see it in 2.9 months. Results in myoclonic. Oh, right. Okay, 7.1 months. Cool. And then coming out of here, and then syncing with the Y key. So we talked about why to organize the tags using a third, and then tagging with third party, and then also cherry picking cards based off a lecture. So this can be useful for people focused on the in-house lecture as well. The last tip that I had is, so AnKing, or not AnKing, Anki must have some scheduler built in, right? When we just saw that if I flipped the card and I felt good about it, then I would hit 3 or 4 and it would send it far into the future. Whereas if I had 1 or 2, I'd see it more proximally. So there's some scheduler built in that says when a card should be shown based off the user input. The default one is fine, but there's one called FSRS that you can enable. So if we go to, if we click on the right here and go to options, we can scroll down over here, blah, 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 and we see FSRS. I don't know what it stands for, and I'm sure some fancy math went into it to make it better. But I find that this one is nice in that I have less cards when I use FSRS, and yet I still can, I have some control over how many cards I want because of this desired retention parameter. So this desired retention is the target probability that when you see a card, you know the answer. So if you have it at a really high value, so 0.97 is the highest I've heard is recommended, then you'll get a bunch of cards so that when you see a card, there's a 97% chance you recognize it. I've heard the AnKing, the person, he uses way down to 0.75. So even if you have a large volume of cards in your deck, you won't get that many reviews every day because it's being really aggressive about it's being much more chill that, there's only a 75% chance we're only targeting 75% chance you need it. So I go with 0.9 for the cards for an exam that I'm looking at. This past summer I did Sketchy Micro, and for that I did I used 0.9 as well, although now, since that's more of a review thing, I've set it down to 0.87, so you can play around with this, do what you like. But I wanted to mention that since that can be quite nice. Same with a bunch of add-ons like this heat map. I find pretty cool. Some people might not enjoy it as much. Yeah, and I think that's just about everything that I have. So let me know if there's anything else that you have questions about, you'd like to hear about, and thank you for watching. Go Gators!